We've all felt at one point or another we are interconnected. But is this an illusion or a scientific reality? After conducting years of experiments, researchers at the HeartMath Institute have discovered what they describe as heart coherence. Coherence is an optimal state in which the mind and emotions are brought into alignment and in sync with the heart's intuitive guidance. Practicing the state of coherence creates a cascade of neural and biochemical events that benefit the entire body, especially our mental and emotional stability. The human heart generates a magnetic field that can be measured outside of the body. The vibrational pattern of that field changes based on our attitudes, emotions, and intentions, and can affect the mental and emotional states of others around us. Our Earth is constantly bathed in electromagnetic fields. These fields affect and connect every living organism on the planet, human beings included. We are not only all swimming in a common vibrational field, but each of us are contributing our own positive or negative vibrations to the field, based on our thoughts, feelings, and interactions. And when you are in coherence, your heart resonates in the same frequency range as the Earth's magnetic field. When a group of people are in coherence together, this effect is magnified. Could large numbers of people synchronized in heart coherence generate a more coherent global field that can benefit others and help offset worldwide fear and incoherence? This is the pursuit of the Global Coherence Initiative. A global network of ultra-sensitive magnetic field detectors and other scientific instruments have been installed around the planet, measuring fluctuations in the field, creating one of the world's largest experiments for intentionally evolving human consciousness. By joining the initiative, you will practice methods that are helpful for increasing your personal well-being and energy levels, reducing stress, fear, and anxiety, while connecting you with your heart's deeper guidance for choices and decisions. At the same time, you'll be helping to shape the collective field of our planet for the better. As a participant, you will learn how to measure your coherence level in real time, along with hundreds of thousands of people in over 150 countries who are adding heart energy to the planet. We are at a point in the history of consciousness where we have an opportunity to make an evolutionary leap to a more cooperative and compassionate way of being. It's time to feed the field with more love and care for each other. Welcome to the Global Coherence Initiative. Download the Global Coherence.
Sorry about that. So welcome again. Good evening, everyone, and good evening, and welcome to those watching us online too. So our theme this evening is Powered by Gratitude, and we have two special speakers who are going to be in a beautiful conversation. So we have with us our friend Chin Yao, who is a philanthropist and a founder of the 1 Billion Random Acts of Kindness. You watched a video about it just now. And having already inspired 1 million acts of kindness worldwide, he's a pioneer in innovative ways to measure how compassion ripples through communities, elevating collective consciousness. And we have also our very own Sister Jaymini. I always call her Miss Charming. and she's, beautiful PR person for us. And also she looks after our publication, most of the publications you see in our shops. She's the one behind it, and also a very senior Raj Yogi teacher, and who's had many years of being with us, very senior daddies and many other seniors. So without a further ado, I'd like to invite both of you on the stage and to share your thoughts about Powered by Gratitude. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Greetings of peace. It's wonderful to see you all here. Though out there it's unbearable heat, but here we are in a very beautiful, calm and cool place, right? And I mean calm and cool is calm and cool. The vibrational energy of this place is so nice and so up, upgrading, and gives us that beautiful experience of uplifting the spirit. So today's topic, is it powered by gratitude? It's amazing that this was not even planned in the drama. The speaker was somebody else, Jasmine from Oxford, and how it just so happened that Nidhi and Dakshaben turned everything around for our friend Chen, who actually we met him yesterday at the parliament. And today we had so much of a give and take. They've traveled from very far and coming from Puerto Rico, yeah, which is an island in America. Again, it's part of Caribbean as well, right? And amazing work that Chen has been doing. So I would say gratitude, in fact, the moment your eyes open, how we all know about gratitude. We all know it in our own different ways, right? If you have to talk about gratitude, share about gratitude, actually you will do it your way. Now, how would I do it? And then how you do it, you will be telling us today, Jen. So, gratitude, as soon as your eyes open in the morning, your gratitude to God that you are alive, right? So the moment we put our feet on the ground, very gratitude to the Mother Earth that it's holding my feet and I can walk. So there are so many things. Gratitude to the nature, the air that we breathe, that there is this air for us to breathe freely. We don't have to pay anything, right? Same thing with the water. So many things we can be saying gratitude, and we can be expressing this in many different ways. But gratitude has multi layers of understanding. There is a deep meaning behind gratitude that we will discover today, probably. Now I'll ask our brother to share on the topic. Yes, from your experience.
On gratitude.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Sister Jaymini. So for me, gratitude is, grateful for having all that I have, having all that I need. And when you're abundant and you have what you need, that gratitude of being in that place and to be able to give back to others is how I express my gratitude. How I practice gratitude is every morning when I get up, the first thing I do actually is I go into a meditation, and within that meditation, actually, a portion of that meditation is specifically for gratitude. It's for gratitude I think about the things that I'm grateful for from the last day, what things it's. I'm gratitude for Mother Earth, for the food that I have, gratitude for my health, gratitude to the divine, and just for all the support and the abundance that I have, and to be in a position to be able to give back to others and to help others as well. But that's when I think about gratitude. That's how I practice gratitude. Is first starting in my meditation every morning with gratitude, and then in life, it's I'm on a my journey now is my full focus is on helping social humanitarian efforts and helping uplift Puerto Rico and now the world. And I think this came about a little bit from I had a spiritual acceleration moving to Puerto Rico and having all that I needed, and was grateful for that. And what is the purpose of life?
So tell us, how did you actually? I read about your bio, and you were a full-fledged IT, or what is a banker,
Investor and entrepreneur. That's right.
entrepreneur,
Uh-huh.
and how suddenly you received this inspiration to really do this first time and give back to the society. And how do you do it in practice?
Got it. When I before moving to Puerto Rico, I was running a multifamily office. I did investments and invested in technology companies, early stage, late stage, and also I'd set up multiple companies in media and entertainment. And when I moved to Puerto Rico, it was interesting because I moved here from Shanghai, China, and Shanghai is one of the fastest paced cities in the world, city that never sleeps 24/7. And then you move to Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico's almost the exact opposite in terms of you're in nature, you're at the beach, island life, island time. And by disconnecting from the hustle and bustle of a big city and being connected with nature, I think that really helped me accelerate to think about what is the purpose of life, the meaning of life. And so from that's when I mentioned I had a spiritual acceleration, and it was, is life really about making more money so you can have more money to buy a nicer car, a nicer house, then make a little bit more money, buy a nicer car, a nicer house, and keep that cycle going forever. And to me, that didn't really seem meaningful, fulfilling. But I came to the realization, for me, my mission and purpose in life is, how do I achieve my highest self and greatest good? And so I think that's all of our missions. Like, how do we be the best that we can be, and then take that version of us to accomplish the greatest good? And so when I think about greatest good, I had to start with my home now, which is Puerto Rico. And I remember at the time, one of my favorite movies of all time was called Pay It Forward. Pay It Forward is a 20-year-old movie. And the movie is about doing acts of kindness without expecting it. And I said, okay, we're going to start a Pay It Forward movement in Puerto Rico, and we're going to spread love and compassion, doing acts of kindness without expecting anything in return. And then, so I had to do research on, okay, what are the biggest issues in Puerto Rico? And so those issues were, one was food security, because we import 85% of all of our food on the island. So that hurricanes and earthquakes, we could have supply chain disruption and not sufficient food. Other thing was education. 50% of the island's in poverty. And also we have a dropout rate of 50% between kindergarten and 12th grade. So I started to focus solutions on food security and education. And then one day, about 3.5 years ago, Hurricane Fiona hit the island. And when Hurricane Fiona hit the island, all of a sudden we have tens and thousands of families that are needing help. So the first thing we did is I picked up the phone and called all the farmers I'd been getting to know, the agroecological farmers on the island. They need help. And pretty much every single one of them said, yeah, we need help. But could you please go help Naya in Lajas? She has an organic farm there. She lost everything that she owns. So we organized our first Puerto Rico I Love You WhatsApp group chat. We brought 20 friends and friends of friends. We all brought chainsaws and machetes. And we went there and helped her cut and clear debris, salvage crops. And then by lunchtime, Naya's like, oh my God, Shin, this is amazing. Thank you so much. It would have taken my one employee and I 45 days to do what you guys did in one morning. Now that same day, because right after the hurricane, a lot of people don't have electricity. So if you don't have electricity, you don't have hot food. So we organized with a separate group of volunteers in a town about an hour and a half away. a soup kitchen feeding 380 elders. That same day after lunch with Naya, I took the team to Ormagueros, it was a nearby town, because that town had been flooded 6 feet underwater. And so we walked the town handing out food, water, clothing, donations. That same afternoon, I took a portion of that team, went to another town called Ponce, where two elderly ladies had called in, and the second floor of the house had been blown away. The grandmother passed away the first day of the storm. The uncle was on an oxygen support machine in a shed in the backyard, and he passed away later that week. And now you had a recently widowed single mom with 3 funerals on her hand, and the mother was still in the house, and you looked like the second floor of the house was going to collapse at any time. But so this was day one of Puerto Rico I Love You, day one of when we started. And so from that day on, just seeing so many people that needed help. And when we're in a position of abundance and able to help ourselves, it's like, how do we inspire those that have abundance to go out and support and help others that are in need? And so from that day on, we continued to do missions pretty much every week till now. And this is how the organization started. And, you know, we continued to do the soup kitchens. We continued to help farmers. And then by week 2, we started to, I remember talking to a community leader in a town called Ponce, and I asked him, what's your biggest needs? And he said, you know what? Everybody's roof is leaking. We need help fixing roofs and putting these tarps on roofs. And so, but starting week 2, you know, he's like, could you help us, you know, put tarps on the roofs? I'm like, okay, sure, no problem. I've never installed a tarp in my life. So I went onto YouTube, how do you install a tarp? And then I called some friends, you guys know how to install tarps? So we went and installed tarps and put tarps on roofs. And we did that for a few weeks. And then afterwards, like, well, shoot, you know, these tarps, it's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on it. Plastic, it's temporary. And if we could just convince some friends to donate a little bit more money, then maybe we just fully repair the roof or fully replace the roof. It'd be more permanent. So that's what we did. So starting then, we just fully repaired and replaced roofs. And since Hurricane Fiona, now it's been about 180 weeks to today. And during this time frame, we've led over 200 missions. Mm-hmm. We've helped fix over 145 roofs in 54 different cities. We've helped donate 1,700 days of free donated labor to 33 agroecological farms. And we're teaching financial literacy to the youth to get them out of poverty. But so this is how I've been, you know, expressing kind of gratitude. I do this full time. I don't get paid a penny. And it's all about, you know, my gratitude for the divine, for our gifts and what we have, and helping to spread that to inspire others too. And our philosophy is not about saving the people, but it's how do we help people help themselves? How do we empower people?
And so, you know, you mentioned about the how many billion acts of kindness. So kind of, have you kept the track of billion acts?
Well,
and which are the places that would, you know, that's the places where you have been able to express those acts of kindness?
Okay, so to go on that, then I have to share a story. So what happened is after, you know, during this time of doing these now 200 missions, the other thing we thought last year, I was thinking back after Hurricane Maria, there was a lot of devastation on our island, but there were some of the most beautiful, heartwarming stories I've ever heard. You had neighbors selflessly helping neighbors, strangers selflessly helping strangers, and the beautiful hearts of Puerto Ricans were all shown. But on the other hand, fast forward to today, like a year ago, and I was thinking, you know, we're the most digitally connected age in the history of the world, but we're right now the most humanly disconnected too. So how do we inspire that goodness that is inherent in everyone to come out and to remind us all of our essence, which is love, and that we are all interconnected in one? How do we unite people, irregardless of politics, irregardless of religion? It was through simple, random acts of kindness. And so we decided to start a movement, which we call Pásalo Pa'lante, which means pass it forward. And this was on top of the regular mission work we've been doing. And so our vision was, how do we, you know, make kindness go viral and bring out the goodness inherent in everyone? And so what we did is we kicked off a new campaign. 1 million acts of kindness was our goal, to inspire 1 million acts of kindness in 5 days in Puerto Rico. And so how we did that campaign, we created a business card that said, Puerto Rico, I love you. Somebody did an act of kindness for you. Now pass it forward, pásalo pa'lante. Then we created an original song and music video, and that original song inspired people to do acts of kindness. The music video was a chain reaction of kindness. I would do an act of kindness for Sister Jaymini. You were doing an act of kindness for Sister Rohini, and so on and so forth. We recruited 40 local Puerto Rican celebrities, influencers, and famous athletes to join as ambassadors. And they all helped support and encourage people to do kindness. And then we spent 6 months to meet all 78 mayors on our island. All 78 mayors joined the campaign. Mm-hmm. The Secretary of Education obligated all 270,000 public school students, every teacher, every administrator to join a week of kindness. They did acts of kindness in school, handed the cards out. They went into the community, did acts of kindness, and handed the cards out. And then every movie theater showed our music video. The song became a top 20 song. And then on November 11th at 11 a.m., 11 minutes, 100% of the largest billboard company, all their billboards were saying Pasalo Palante. And so then we ended up setting a world record of inspiring over 1.1 million acts of kindness in 5 days. Wow. And so that is what happened last year.
So what is the population there?
The population is 3 million.
Roughly. So everybody, it reached out to everyone?
No, it didn't catch everybody because the 1.1 million acts of kindness, like one person could do a few acts of kindness. That's right, in terms of registration. So we estimate maybe at least got at least a few hundred, 400,000. Yeah.
So how would you describe the acts of kindness? Like it actually viral, right? So do you think that people got it? Did they understand the acts of kindness? And what did they do exactly?
Sure. So what we did, first of all, because the song, well, the music video that we had was essentially like a short movie showing different random acts of kindness that people could do. So that was the anthem for the campaign. And it was shown on TV and the movie theaters and all that and social media. So I think that helped. And then, so there was a lot of examples already out there. And then what we did is with the campaign, after people did acts of kindness, they handed a card. And then the card gave them a physical reminder of responsibility to do an act of kindness for someone else. So the answer to your question is, yeah, people kind of got it. And in general, I feel like people are inherently good. There's goodness in everyone. And it's just sometimes when people get busy and they're in fight or flight mode and survival, they may forget, but sometimes we just need a little bit of a reminder to inspire that goodness that is inherent in everyone.
And I think that as you mentioned, the scenario when there's hurricane and all that happening, when people are left without a roof on their head or ground under their feet. So that's a time when the innate qualities of every human soul kicks in, isn't it? Because nothing else is left. So this is what next question I'd like to ask you is that how do you sustain yourself? Because you do this full time, you're not get paid. How do you spiritually sustain yourself to continue to do these acts of kindness day in, day out, every single day? So tell us one day, what is the routine for you to really bring about constant awareness of the acts of kindness?
So, okay, for me to be able to, let's call it regenerate, meditation is very important. So my meditation practice, I do that every morning, first thing after waking up, before doing anything else, is actually my meditation practice. And getting into a calm and like I mentioned, that meditation practice, there's different aspects of it. There's an aspect of silence, being deeply aware of, just in silence, being deeply aware, becoming aware of all the bodily sensations around me. And there's a portion of gratitude. There's a portion of, spreading love and compassion to my home, my community, the world. And it's, and I think, I do my best every morning. My plan is ideally to do it every night too, before going to sleep, but I'm not there every night. But the morning, I'm about 90%.
So then when you sit there for meditation, and I'm sure that you will be contemplating or experiencing or going deep into your own qualities, right? So when you begin to explore your own innate qualities that lies deep within you, you get spiritually uplifted, right?
Yes.
Because I want to go back, just to rewind your experience coming from Shanghai, where you were investors and working with all the startup companies, helping them all out, and then you flew to Puerto Rico. And that's when you went through a spiritual awakening or experience, right?
Yeah.
So you suddenly dropped all that, is it? Or has it gradually happened to you?
I think it was starting to gradually happen, but it kind of accelerated, let's say, when COVID hit. And then it kind of created but so it started to gradually happen, but yeah, there was like a major acceleration point with COVID.
Mm-hmm. And so you came to that experience of spiritual, regeneration within your.
Just having a deeper sense of purpose.
Yes.
Meaning in life.
Okay, so kindness, I can see that connected, there has to be a purpose, isn't it? So to be doing this, and I'm sure that you have a big plan of taking this around the world. So what is that plan? How would you be doing that?
So after we saw the success that we had in Puerto Rico last year in terms of the impact, I went deep into meditation in India in January and came out of that 10 days of silence, feeling like we have wars in the world right now. 4 in 10 teens feel hopeless about the future. And like I mentioned, we're so digitally connected, but humanly disconnected. So we decided, you know what, that kindness, that success that we had in Puerto Rico, we'd like to take that to the world. So our goal this year is to take that to every country in the world, all 195 countries, and inspire over 1 billion acts of kindness during Global Kindness Season, which we're declaring from November 1st to January 31st, 3 months of kindness, where basically we want to take what the Secretary of Education led in Puerto Rico, use that to inspire the ministers of education in every country in the world, talk to local media, local celebrities and influencers, similar to what we did in Puerto Rico, each country in the world, and to have a few global synchronized moments to really, because what happens is, you saw the video earlier about the Global Coherence Project. When you get a critical mass of people all in an elevated emotion of love or peace at a common time frame, you can create a shift in the energetic field locally, potentially in the world. It's also similar to the Maharishi effect, which said 10,000 monks got together in India, did a meditation for peace. Immediately afterwards, violence and crime decreased in India as well as in the world. So if you look at the Maharishi effect, it said that the Heart Math Institute has scientifically validated that with their technology and computers. And so this is what we're doing. We've designed a movement that is to collaborate with organizations all around the world without ego, that we're all coming together for the greater good and for the greater collective, and to come together for a common time frame to change the narrative. 99% of the media all the time is negative, but now we're going to change that, because during these 3 months, with all these different partnering organizations around the world, media, schools, all going out doing acts of kindness, we can create a shift in consciousness in the world. And it's about empowering. If each individual makes their commitment to do their acts of kindness, okay, and then you take that collective energy and harness that. It's not just ripples, your collective waves, and it becomes a tsunami of love that's spreading out through the world. And we can actually create a shift in consciousness in the world. So that's what it is. We have to have a bold enough plan that inspires everyone to kind of come out and do their one part.
So I can see that the whole concept in practically bringing that into action, without media and technology, it's not possible, right? So just going back to the story of the Brahma Kumari, the first beginnings of the Brahma Kumaris, Brahma Baba, who was a founder here in the middle. And we just talked about Brahma Baba, and probably it's the first time, although you probably had a connection somehow before you came here with Sister Mohini, who is the head of the organization in Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah.
And Sister Gayatri. Yeah. So tell us that
Okay.
connection also.
Well, I haven't met them yet,
You
right?
haven't
But
met
yeah,
them,
but
yeah.
we had a Brahma Kumari friend of a friend, right? Just had told me about Brahma Kumari, and then so we had they had sent a letter to Sister Mohini, and who
Yes.
facilitated Sister Gayatri in New York, and so we haven't had a chance to meet them yet. But this is my first Brahma Kumari opportunity experience from meeting you all.
So you had to come to London because London
Yeah.
is, I mean, this is a first time introduction as well. So London is the first
That's right.
point outside of India.
That's right.
Where the activities began.
Oh.
And humble beginning, Dadi Janki, you can see that, who passed away, who left us at the age of 104. And her incredible story. And that story is just in few lines. At the age of, I would say, Dadi was 59 when she first came to this country in 1974. Although the service or the outreach of the Brahma Kumaris began in 1971, Ilford, Slough, these are the places. And then later, one of the Dadi's colleague, Ratan Moini Dadi, she came across and she was here for a couple of years until 73. Then she went back, and then 74 Dadi came. And so Dadi coming abroad, not speaking a word of English, and yet she was able to bridge the gap between the West and the East. And she was able to bridge that. I mean, when I say bridge the gap between the Eastern philosophy and the Western minds, you see, and she brought everybody together, a incredible, I would say, kindness, selflessness, which the way I would define kindness here spiritually, selflessness. Never thought, like you're saying, that without thinking, you all got on. I'm sure it must have been a marathon for all of you after that tsunami to build the place and help people. And you need that, and you require actually a great deal of strength to do that, inner strength, not just the physical strength, inner strength. And Dadi Janki, she had tremendous spiritual strength. And prior to that, she already was one of the senior teacher in India. But coming to London, she's starting from scratch. No students, maybe 2 or 3 students. Imagine someone really senior, top teacher, and coming here, no students, or maybe just 2 or 3 students. And how she built, and that is tirelessness and selflessness. Never thought about herself. She always have put others in the front. And another big quality of kindness that I saw from Dadi's life was consistent in everything that she did. Getting up early in the morning, meditation, then we have discourse in the morning, and then meeting people constantly. So that routine was very important. You see, again, when we talk about the kindness, it's very easy to forget about yourself. And so I did ask you a question. Are you vegetarian? Or you said I'm vegan, right? So how many years have you been vegan?
About 6 years.
About 6 years. So what made you go vegan?
Initially, it was for health reasons. Where I at one time I was a semi-professional volleyball athlete. I used to play volleyball, and then I hurt my knees and I didn't play. And then I moved to Puerto Rico. I lived right on the beach, and they were playing volleyball all the time. Like, you know what? I want to start playing volleyball again. And so I'm like, and then I saw this movie called The Game Changers by Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jackie Chan, and the movie talked about all these athletes breaking world records, and they were all vegan athletes. So I almost went vegan. Then what happened is I was interested to take a Reiki class, but then the Reiki master said, before you take the class, 21 days before, you have to go vegan. And so for interest in taking this Reiki class, and then also for health reasons and regenerating my knees, that's when I went vegan. So initially you can say it was for health reasons, but then afterwards it's a philosophy of love for all living beings.
Correct, yeah. So I think kindness spiritually also reminds me of Brahma Baba, our founder, his story. It's like, I was questioning myself, is it a value? Is it a virtue? What is it? Is it a way of thinking? I mean, it's very deeply ingrained within each and every human soul. It doesn't matter what age, what religion, it's beyond all that. And that is one thing that brings everyone together. Exactly. And that togetherness has got great power. So the project that you are bringing to the world, or you've already started rolling it, it's something that is going to be greatly beneficial for every individual, because not everyone is spiritually awoken, you see. So like you had spiritual awakening, and then later you were able to embrace this because of the situation that the tsunami happened. So I think for others, probably it's other way around. So, like Brahma Baba, for him, it was the call of the time, that he was responding to what is calling his soul to address. And that's amazing story of Brahma Baba. I'm sure many of you have heard of the story of the Brahma Baba, how it all began. And that, Brahma Baba, a very successful diamond jeweler who was greatly respected in the society. And yet he had the call of the time, defining what is the purpose of life. Similar, you had the same thing, purpose of life. So I think this kindness kicks in, right?
Yeah.
When there's that call from within to see what is my purpose in life. So that's exactly where we all come to that same platform. What is my purpose of? And so that perhaps you could share some, is it some tips or is it gadgets? What is it? What do you call it?
Oh, well,
for the
okay, yeah, we
act
had
of kindness.
So what we did last year, before 11/11 and before November, before the movement happened, we had an intention to scientifically validate the movement. So we partnered with the Heart Math Institute, which you saw their video earlier, and we imported. Well, first of all, I should say, let me give the background on it for those that kind of came in later. So the Heart Math Institute, their mission is to elevate consciousness in the world, but with scientific validation. And so they have this global consciousness project where they set up global consciousness devices all around the world. And those global consciousness devices are essentially just a mini computer that generates random numbers. And then what those devices did, they scientifically validated, like I mentioned earlier, when you have a critical mass of people in a highly elevated emotion of love or peace, that critical mass of coherent love and peace can create a shift in the energetic field locally and in the world. Now, how do they actually track that? Because the devices are random number generators. And they, for example, they follow Joe Dispenza around for 2 years. Joe Dispenza, every time he has an event, it's sold out, 2,000 people get together. The first thing they do is get into this heart-brain coherence meditation and get into a heart-centered space of love. And so what they found, every single time, minutes into that meditation, all of a sudden, those random number generators no longer generate random numbers. Okay, and those random number generators that they brought to the event that are in the local city, the coherence of 2,000 people all in a state of love, okay, that coherence created coherence in the numbers, so the numbers no longer generated random numbers. And when that critical mass of coherence of an elevated emotion of love or peace is strong enough, the random number generators around the world are not generating random numbers either. So to answer your question, and that's why, so we imported 10 of these devices. I wish I could show it. And and then what happened is you're imagining what's happening in Puerto Rico.
Do you want to have a flip chart? I'm sure.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. I'll explain. Thank you for
Yeah.
asking. So from November 7th to November 11th, we've got the radio blasting the song, the movie theaters are showing the music video, people are going out doing random acts of kindness and handing the cards out after each act of kindness. And then on 11/11 at 11 a.m., 11 minutes, 100% of B Media's billboards, like 300 some odd billboards, are saying Pasalo Palante. And then we only had maybe 50 people in our meditation. And those 50 people weren't in one location. They're all spread out around the island. And then what happens is, what you can imagine, we went to, at 11:30 a.m., we went to the Heart Math Institute website where the data is 24/7. And then you saw a map of the world. And on that map of the world, there's these different colored dots. Pink means normal network coherence. Blue is elevated. Orange is high. Yellow is very high. White is extremely high. Highest measurable network coherence, extremely rare. So at 11:30 a.m., when we took that screenshot, almost all the world is pink, which is normal. But then there's a big white circle in Puerto Rico, which is the highest measurable network coherence possible. Because there's such a critical mass of love and compassion and kindness in the streets that created a shift, a measurable shift in the energetic field that the random number generators picked up. And so that's what happened. And normally, like a Joe Dispenza event, that might last for about 30 days. Or 30 minutes. Okay, but then what happened 2 days later when we went on to a conference call with the Heart Math Institute on November 13th, my team member, she went onto their website and took a look, and we still had a big white circle 2 days later. Because what happens, you have to imagine, all of a sudden there's all this information in social media, the song's still playing, the music video's still showing, and there's still cards in the street of people doing kindness. So there's a lingering effect. And so that's why, so based on that, our goal is, how do we get 200 white circles in 200 countries all around the world this kindness season in November? So to create a shift in consciousness, not just in Puerto Rico, but in the world.
Thank you. So I just would like to share here the experience. In fact, Raj Yogi meditators across the world, we are in more than 110 countries. And as I mentioned to you, the most important thing about the lifestyle that we lead, the Raj Yogis, all over the world, it's really a very, very fixed timetable. And then you can do different things around that timetable, but you adhere to that timetable. For example, now it's 7:30. But 7 o'clock, majority of the meditators, Raj Yogi meditators, would make it for 7 o'clock, 7 to 7:30 meditation. So imagine all across the world, you have all these meditators sitting in meditation 7 to 7:30 in the evening. Similarly, 4 to 5 in the morning. So many of them, many are aligning and many sitting in meditation. So this happens throughout the day. So it's really going around, if you go around the whole world's time clock, I think at every hour, most of the places, there'll be somebody or the others who is constantly seated in that particular state of meditation. And when I say meditation, I mean it, because they are the real serious meditators. Connecting, being aware of themselves, connecting the yoga of the mind and the intellect with the supreme source, with the divine. And literally, when you are connected with the source, with the divine, then you draw that energy. Automatically, you absorb that vibrational energy into this universe, into your being. So it means everywhere around you, this vibrational energy is spreading. So something that is very familiar to the meditators, and that is there's a stage called the Antavahak. Antavahak is the final the final vehicle to travel. So the final vehicle that will be for souls to travel will not be your aeroplanes, will not be your car, will not be your motorbike, will not be any of those. But it will be the subtle form, the subtle body of yourself. Like I have physical body. I also have, each one of us, we all have subtle the body, and that subtle body is the body of light. Okay. So that in order to enhance that body of light, in order to bring that body of light closer to yourself, I have to continue to practice my meditation. So as you mentioned about this white light, it came home to me that how deeper is your and consistency that you maintain in your meditation, then your body, although it is physical body of flesh and bones, but this body appears to be that form of light, So you, with your physical eyes, you see the light. Although it's a physical body, but you actually see this aura of light around you. So every time you meditate, this aura around you of light increases. And this aura of light is a protection not only for you, but also for others. And so I tell you this whole thing applies practically. It's nice to have the way you actually responded with the practical proof. And so the practical proof, about few days ago, one of our students, I know her from many, many years ago. She's from Malawi. She was acutely unwell in the hospital. And it's her sister-in-law who phoned to tell us, we don't know whether she will come out of the ICU or not. She's a young girl. She'd been through a major operation. Can you all please send her the vibrational energy, the healing energy of light? So we have a system here since COVID times. We make an announcement. We have 3 language classes. We make an announcement in the class, and everybody else on webcast would be listening to that. Everybody, we will be sending vibrational energy to this particular person. So you don't have to bring that person in your mind, but you simply have to visualize that person. You don't have to know that person. When you visualize that person, and you are sending the vibrational energy, you're remembering the divine, you're remembering God, and the vibrational energy is reaching out to that soul. You believe it? Just in the next 24 hours, her sister-in-law phoned to say that she's come out of all the danger, she's come out of ICU, she's much, much better. Doctors are really amazed. It can only be God, or it's only the vibrational energy, that of healing energy, that has saved her life. And these are the kind of practical, things that we hear and we get the response. I just want to share that with you. We don't have any gadgets.
No, but it's
so we pay attention to our thoughts all the time, not wasting a single thought, not allowing unnecessary waste thoughts or thoughts of fear or anything like that, so that the mind is absolutely calm and mind is at peace. So this is only possible when the mind is at peace, that one can generate. So I just want to share that mind is an amazing tool. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Anybody has questions?
Thank you for the lecture. I have a question regarding the device because I'm thinking about something like.
Can you keep the microphone
Yeah.
close?
Hello. So I heard about negative ions. Like there's some weird way of calculating them when the positive energy is high. Like in the you go near to the water or maybe in the nature, negative ions are high. But how this device calculating and generating, being a part of a maths background and understanding the stuff, my brain just got stuck over there. How random numbers start generating, like maybe in a sequence or maybe some Fibonacci series or whatever. So how come it's possible? Like, how did you guys came up with that idea?
So first of all, we didn't come up with the idea. The Heart Math Institute based their research. It was originally started in Princeton University, and then took that Princeton University research and built upon it. And then they were the ones that developed these devices. But so what those devices again are, they're really just it's a mini computer. It's literally about this big. You plug it into the internet. Okay, and then that device, it is just programmed to generate random numbers. Okay, and then if you look at the numbers and the sequence of numbers, like computer programs can tell, okay, is this random? And just on a normal state of day, these are running all the time. They can tell when it's random. But then all of a sudden, in certain periods, in time periods, all of a sudden those numbers are not generated. They're not random anymore. And so and how come every single time, as an example, every single time they go to a Joe Dispenza event, when they're tracking that, and minutes into the meditation at the same time, roughly, all of a sudden, the random number generator is not generating random numbers anymore. So mathematically, they were able to show that, wait a minute, every single time there's this critical mass of people in coherent, elevated emotion of love or peace, the random number generators are not generating random numbers. Okay, and that is, by the way, a 1 in trillion chance of possibility. And so based on that, mathematically, they said, okay, obviously, because of A and B, this adds together. So that's how they did it.
Were there like any series of numbers, like maybe 6 digit or 10 digits, like it was generating random numbers and suddenly start generating like maybe 0 to 10 or maybe 1
The
to
exact, you'd have to, yeah, you can actually go to the Heart Math Institute website. There's a Global Consciousness Project. And then within the Global Consciousness Project, you could read a little bit more, because I don't want to inaccurately state how the specific numbers are going, but they actually track it specifically, and they know that it was no longer generating random numbers. So that's how they were able to tell.
Anybody? Yes. So you got your answer?
So, wow, I have to say, this is bold, from pretty much nothing to fixing a few roofs to 1 million and now 1 billion around the world. So what makes you think this is possible? I mean, is there something happening? How are people receiving it, and do people believe you? And because you have such certainty it's going to happen in every part of your being. So what makes you think this is going to happen?
It's funny you say that too. I remember last year, it was kind of like it came through meditation actually too, when I kind of decided that last year, hey, look, you know what? I mean, first of all, if we're going to do anything, we need to do something meaningful. It needs to be big, or otherwise why do anything at all, right? Go big or go home. And then it's like, look, we're 3 million population. I don't know, just in meditation, it came out, we really should do like something meaningful. 1 million acts of kindness seemed meaningful for an island of 3 million people. And the goal was, okay, we're going to just have to get all 78 mayors on board. And it was interesting through that whole process. I mean, we don't have enough time today on it, but this was really a spiritual journey. And there were steps in the process where, a lot of people had doubts, and it's not possible getting all 78 mayors. Nobody's done that before. And, and then also when you go through the process, as we're getting closer, if you mathematically calculate, all right, look, we got 10 mayors left, and, we've got 10 mayors on board, and then there's like, how many days left and how many we're signing up per week. It mathematically didn't work out. Okay. But this isn't a linear science. Okay, because what happens is, just like my experience in business, there is a certain inflection point. Things kind of take off. But there was just a knowing, and we knowing that it was possible, but then we also put in a plan to execute on it. And then there was like multiple ways on how we could hit the million. And so, it was just trust in the divine that everything we're doing is sincere and pure. There's no ulterior motives. We don't make a penny from this. And you know what? I'm just going to put full trust in the divine, and we're going to do our best with no attachment to any outcome. So even though we say a million, we will put our intention and our actions to do everything possible to hit that million, but I have no attachment to the outcome. And that's when you find that the divine supports the most. So same thing in the billion here. Actually, on the billion, I have many mathematical formulas on how we will billion, and there's ways we can do it very easily. But all I can say is we have a specific strategy on how we're going to do it. We're going to put the intentions and actions behind that. And we'll put full energy on that and leave the outcome to the divine.
So that's what it is, isn't it? You go beyond the numbers, and so the soul is a tiny, tiny energy. And so when you begin to touch base with that energy, when you begin to experience real consciousness, the pure consciousness, whilst you are in this physical body, you actually go beyond all those numbers.
In our mind, what we can achieve is limited by our mind. Oftentimes, just things happen like I couldn't have planned it that way, and it was just incredible. So when you open up your mind and the systems we have in place in the world kind of creates this oftentimes scarcity mindset, win-lose mentality, and limitations on what can be achieved, right? I think it was Henry Ford said, if you think it's impossible or if you think it's possible, you're right. So why limit yourself?
Firstly, I just want to say thank you so much for hosting this event. And I think, like, when you talked about the 1 billion random acts of kindness, have you heard of Mo Gauda? He immediately came to my, we need to connect. I don't know how we're going to do that, but we can. But he's doing something similar with 1 billion, trying to get 1 billion people happier on this planet after his son passed away.
Who is that? Sorry,
Mo Gauda. He was on The Diary of a CEO. I'll send you the episode. It changed my life. It changed the way I looked at grief after my dad passed when I listened to that episode. But this is how things can get connected. So maybe reach out to him and see if we, obviously 1 billion people being happy. How quick? I was going to say, how easy is it to get happy is when you do a random act of kindness for someone. Like that could just be like some kind of synergy.
Right. Absolutely.
But it also reminds me, and I love that you were talking about the Heart Math Institute, and they can now measure and prove that this works in terms of heart coherence and mass collective consciousness. Because when I learned about the silent minute movement that happened during World War II, that originated in the Chalice Wells Peace Gardens in Glastonbury, I learned this when I was doing my angelic Reiki master training, and I was like, how do they not discuss this in history class in schools? But basically, Wellesley Tudor Pole started a mass meditation for 1 minute, a bit like how we do 11th of November, 1 minute silence. He started doing this when World War II was going on in 1940, and it gained so much traction that Winston Churchill got behind it, and the BBC would ring the bells of Big Ben at 9 o'clock every day to get people of all cultures around the UK, and even the USA got involved, and they were doing mass meditation. But basically, it's on the Wikipedia page, but when I heard about this, I was like, this is fascinating, because after the war ended and they were interviewing some of the Nazi officials, they were saying, well, why did you think you lost the war? And they said that you had a secret weapon, but we didn't know what it was, and it was something to do with Big Ben, but we didn't. Were you hiding a weapon there? But it wasn't. It was because this mass
of silence.
Yeah, and I was like fascinated. But
Observing
now we can actually
the minute
prove
of
it,
silence,
which is amazing. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with people, because I'm just still, it blows my mind. But we can actually now measure it, which is insane.
But good news. BKs are already doing it.
Yes.
And I was sharing with you that it's our 90th year. It's all happening in an incognito way. Nobody knows it. The world doesn't know it. But now the media has to know it, right?
Yes.
And people like yourself will have to know it. Yes. Yeah.
Oh. So you said that afterwards that it stayed white on the map, right? I'm curious how long it stayed white for and what you feel the things that will create a sustained white circle over everything and what you see as possible when that happens.
Mhm. So now, when I say it stayed white, what we did notice, like when we went onto the site 2 days later, we still saw this white circle. And when we went to take a screenshot, all of a sudden there was a yellow. So we know it oscillated at the highest levels.
Yeah.
But we don't know how long it, because the Heart Math Institute doesn't have the ability to go track every event, every day, so we don't know how long it lasted, right? But the way we do have a strategy to create lasting impact. So one of the reasons we extended kindness season this year from November 1st to January 31st, 90 days, because it takes 21 days to 60 days to create a habit. Now, all of a sudden, we can go through ministries of education, and then they obligate school systems to kind of get involved. And can we inspire some schools to say, let's have every student just do one little random act of kindness a day for 90 days, or maybe one for 60 days, or just can you commit to do one act of kindness for 30 days?
Mhm.
Now we're creating new habits, and we're changing, the culture through the youth. And then with a hit song, a We Are the World version of the song, of top artists from all around the world joining that song and getting 1 billion views on that music video and the song becoming a top hit song, now you got these digital assets in the ether that are permanent. And then with hundreds of millions of people doing acts of kindness and handing cards out and encouraging other people to do acts of kindness, that there's a continuation of that too. And then all those people posting on social media and the people that are creating assets from that. So that's what we saw last year. There's this continuation. That's why it's different from just a one-time event, because there's all these assets created and all these feelings and everything else in the ecosystem. So the point is, there's ways within the strategy of, and then the other thing is we'd like to encourage, as these people go out and do acts of kindness when kindness season ends, well, hey, how do you keep it going? Well, you're going to have to do some inner work too, like through groups like Brahma Kumaris, right? And other groups, because if we can encourage people to go do that inner work, they can create that lasting change. So,
And when you instruct a random act of kindness, what parameters do you set? Do you say, like, do whatever you want, or do you suggest things?
So last year, what we did is the whole music video gave an example of like all these different random acts of kindness you can do. And we're creating a new one too. And then we will have a list that people, so you could say we give some guidance, right? In terms of some examples and ideas on what you can do. But yeah, we do want to leave it flexible and open for people, but we're providing some guidance in terms of examples. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's have a minute of silence. Yeah. Meditation. You want to say? Oh, yeah. Okay. So let us all now together invoke that energy of the divine in this room and spread that energy around wherever we go. So just sit comfortably, take a deep breath and breathe out. Feel your feet flat on the ground. Thoughts in your mind are in the state of silence. I choose my thoughts. I am master of my own mind. Mind is the energy of soul, which has the function of creating thoughts. Intellect is also part of the soul. Through this energy of intellect, I'm able to hold information and also focus my attention. Sanskars, the personality traits, impressions, which is part of my soul. So I have 3 powerful functions which makes me the master. I, the soul, in my original nature, original form, I am peace. Peace is my way of life. Peace is my quality of life. I, the soul, I come from the world of peace, which is also known as sweet silence home. This is the place where I have come from, which is beyond the sun, the moon, and the stars. This world, this body, is temporary. I have to perform actions through these physical organs. So that I, the soul, I can once again restore my original peace whilst I'm in this body. So that I can perform such actions and create such thoughts that will bring happiness and express kindness in every interaction, naturally and easily, as it's my nature, it's my way of life. So just be peace, be happiness, be kind, be loving, be powerful, be wise. Simply be yourself. Om Shanti. Om meaning I am, Shanti, peace.
Thank you very much. You'll join me in thanking both our speakers, and it's been absolute. It's been an absolute pleasure and honor to hear from both of you. And even last week, we didn't know this was happening. So trust in the divine, right? And just to underline a few points that I took, inspiring stories, which was underlining purpose, the trust in divine, and also the hard work, consistency. And so best wishes for your work in future. But also, I'm sure this is our first time, but maybe many more of it very soon. Right? And may I have a show of hands of how many of you are here for the first time to Inner Space? So special
1,
welcome.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Good.
Wow.
Good. Yeah, so for those of you new to Inner Space, you could go up to our website. I mean, you can also pick up the leaflets from here, but also it's wembley.innerspace.org. And you can look at all the events we offer. Like every Tuesday evening, we have talks. We've been doing that for many years. And for those of you here for the first time, in September will be 30 years of Inner Space serving the community. So yes, talks, meditation courses. Mondays and Thursdays, we have in-house and online meditation. Sunday mornings, online meditation. So all of these information is on this leaflet on the reception. Please feel free to take one. And our next week talk is about purpose beyond productivity. So it's a person who is there in a corporate world, and it's not just all about productivity, and it's about purpose. You also mentioned, and just also an advance notice that as many of you who are familiar to coming to Inner Space, you're aware that we work with primary school children in Brent and Harrow, and also, of course, this project, which is called Young Ambassador for Peace, has been taken in Oxford, Leicester, and the coming years will be in many more cities and world. So some of the pupils from Brent and Harrow schools will be delivering talk on 7th July and 14th July. So not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesdays. So that'll be, again, another delight to hear them, what they've learned about peace with self, others, and nature. So to just highlight product for the week. This is by Dadi Janki, our former head of the Brahma Kumaris. That's Sister Jaymini was talking about a lot, from whom we, or many of us, have taken a lot of benefit, has been our mentor. This is Exploring Spiritual Greatness, How to Change Yourself and the World. So extraordinary times require extraordinary people. So please feel free to browse in the bookshop on your way out. And wonderful book, but there are many other products that you may want to see. Thank you. Have a safe journey home and hope to see you soon. Okay.
Thank you.